Please note that the Burn It Nutrition podcast is for educational purposes only and is not meant to substitute for the advice of a doctor. Please consult your GP before using any of the techniques or products discussed on this show. Hope you like it.
Welcome to episode 5 of the Burn It Nutrition podcast. I'm your host, Joseph Navarro. On today's show, we will go on a journey into the past to get a glimpse into the history of physical exercise and learn some of the best methods for training that can be implemented in your own body transformation. We will also discover where our health as a nation ranks against the world, and you may be surprised to see the results. But first, let's hear the news and announcements. If you want to know exactly what you need to do to achieve a body transformation and get the body you've always wanted in a healthy, effective, and sustainable plan, then download your copy of 5th Stage Keto. This will walk you through the stages to break past those weight loss plateaus and see the biggest changes in body composition. Plus, you will learn how to effectively implement intermittent fasting with the personal strategies I used in my own transformation. And best of all is that I have recently converted 5th Stage Keto into an audiobook. Yes, now you can sit back, relax, and listen to this powerful body transformation plan from the comfort of your warm couch. What is really special about 5th Stage Keto is that you get both the 120-page ebook as well as the audiobook. So now you can follow along on your laptop or tablet while you listen as it is narrated for your enjoyment. Having a resource available like this audio and ebook combo when I started my transformation would have made my journey much smoother. Well, now I have created it for you to enjoy. So if you want to experience 5th Stage Keto with this 1-2 combo, then head over to burnitnutrition.com to get access to this powerful body transformation resource. I have created a coupon code for my podcast listeners, so use promo code BURNIT. This will give you $5 off at checkout. Guys, it has never been easier to learn the stages for effective weight loss until now. You can sit back, put your headphones on, and enjoy the experience to reach 5th Stage Keto. Again, head over to burnitnutrition.com and use coupon code BURNIT and get the body you have always wanted. I also want to tell you about this amazing skincare product that I have been using to battle the stretch marks that come with weight loss. I have been using the product called Body Butter from Fatco. They use actual healthy fats that truly nourish and heal your skin, allowing it to glow. Head over to fatco.com and use coupon code BURNIT to get 10% off your order and keep your skin feeling smooth and looking great. I'm so glad to have you with us today. Now, let's start the show.
Burn it. You are not alone as you begin this new stage of life. Learn the strategic methods to reach your goals and flourish the light within. With our guidance, you will uncover the hidden truths that have been missing from your understanding. It's time to let it burn.
The Roman philosopher Marcus Tullius Cicero once said, "To be ignorant of what occurred before you were born is to remain always a child. For what is the worth of the human life unless it is woven into the life of our ancestors by the records of history?" The past can provide valuable lessons for the present. Understanding the history and methods of others can be useful in overcoming our own challenges. And in today's episode, we will explore the history of exercise to see if we can take away some lessons from the life of others. Physical exercise has been part of the human lifestyle since the dawn of time. Now, our methods have changed throughout the ages. I'm sure you won't find the evidence of our primal ancestors doing yoga or lifting weights. But in one way or another, our ancestors moved their bodies and were healthier than many of us now, even without all the new fancy gadgets we have available. So how did we get here? when did gym bros and international chest days come to be? Let's dive into the history of physical exercise and get a better understanding on how we got to our modern fitness culture. Let's take a tour through the ages and see how our ancestors worked on their summer bods. This will help give us a better picture on what type of exercise our bodies have evolved to do, and allow us to find ways to implement them into our own lifestyle. So, let's all pile in to our Burn It Nutrition time machine and go all the way back to primitive man. Okay? Everybody in? Good. Now, what era should we visit? How about we punch in the date to as far back as this puppy goes? Let's go back to before 10,000 BC. We are now in the time of our hunter-gatherer ancestors, the primitive caveman, who lived off the land, and yes, they look to be in great physical shape. But this is not because our ancestors are hitting 2 to 3 hours at the gym, but because the work that is needed to just survive keeps them fit. During this era of our history, they need to walk large distances to find food and animals to hunt. And the primal instinct of man leads the way. Quietly, they sneak up on unsuspecting prey. Then, when close enough, they burst into a full-on sprint to take down their prey, bringing food and nourishment to the tribe. But it wasn't just the men who had to be strong and fit. This harsh environment forced the women and children to also be fit and endure the tough terrain. You see, in this era, the weak wouldn't last. A true survival of the fittest. Even the young would have to climb trees to do their part in gathering food. Women would also have to lift and carry heavy objects as well. This was part of the daily routine our first ancestors had to endure, just to survive. But they were also good times. Once the day-long hunting and gathering efforts were finished, and the land was picked of its food, large tribes would come together to celebrate with traditional dancing that would take place for hours at a time. You can say it was the original Zumba class. This lifestyle kept early man fit and strong to endure their harsh living environment. This was how we evolved for thousands of years. But primitive man kept progressing and improving their methods, and over time, they learned how to build and sustain fires and improve their hunting and fishing skills. This allowed their smaller brains to grow and improve their way of life, which led us to the agricultural revolution. All right, let's get back into the time machine and jump forward to the dawn of civilized man. The year is 9000 BC, and our primitive culture has now progressed into an agrarian society, meaning the people of this era have learned to farm and produce their own food, as well as domesticating animals like goats and other cattle to help them survive. They no longer have to travel large distances to find nourishment. They have evolved and now have the mental capacity to grow their own food and create a living in areas with fertile land. The one drawback is that it has sparked a change to a more sedentary lifestyle, since they don't need to exert such high levels of energy to find food. Yes, farming can be tough, but now they have tools and farming animals that help get the daily tasks done. Communities began to work together, and life was truly getting better. But the growth of these tribes, over time, produced a whole new problem. Let's fast forward 5,000 years to a time where physical fitness was at the top of the totem pole. The era that spanned from 4000 BC to around 476 AD had great empires like the Egyptian, the Persian, the Greeks, and the Roman empires. and all placed the highest regard to the physical abilities of their youth. But it wasn't for the health of their nation, but for the prevention of annihilation from their enemies. You see, as tribes grew, their need for resources also grew. So did the desire of power and control, which forced empires to fight. This made having a strong youth capable of defending their land and people of most importance. And the Persian Empire was one of the empires who rose to great power using the strength and size as a tactic. In those days, when the risk of invasion was so great, placed a high demand on their own people. At the early age of 6 years old, a Persian boy would become property of the empire and would begin his training that would prepare him to fulfill his duty. The intense training involved hunting, long runs through tough terrain, plus battles with his fellow tribesmen, both armed and unarmed. They would also practice their skills at long-range javelin throws to spear their enemies from great distances. The drills were taxing, but this improved the strength and endurance of their youth, which they used to conquer much of the known world. When their empire finally fell, it was during a period where their people began to get comfortable and lazy, forgetting the importance of physical fitness. Another empire that was known for their fitness abilities are the Greeks. They were the first to create a platform for the elite to come and display their great abilities, a tradition we still carry on today, known as the Olympic Games. The Greeks were one of the first to emphasize the importance of a strong and healthy body to better support a healthy and sound mind. Minds that gave us great philosophers like Plato and the father of medicine, Hippocrates. They appreciated the true beauty of the human frame when at its prime, which can be seen in the art and sculptures they left behind. Just like the Persians, the Spartans of northern Greece also gave up their children at the age of 6 years old to be molded into warriors that would be ready for battle. Now, the Spartan women were not left aside to be weak and frail. They too were expected to be strong and fit, with the end goal of giving birth to a strong and healthy offspring. In my own perspective, a woman should also take on the challenge to work and improve their fitness levels, to be strong and fit to the best of their abilities, but to do it for themselves, for their own health and improvement, not just for the goal of healthier kids or to attract a partner. This era in our history showed us the beauty of the human frame when crafted to its best, using fitness as a priority. But it also showed us how strength can be used to conquer and destroy when in the hands of evil leaders. Well, let's get out of here before they force us to fight. Back to the time machine we go. Everyone in? Great. Let's now go into what is known as the Dark or Middle Ages. This was a period that followed after the fall of the Roman Empire. A period that lasted from around the 5th to 15th century. This was a time of great medieval knights and also an era that had devastating poverty and sickness where millions died from plagues and the spread of disease. This was also the time when the spread of religion grew, changing the priority of many, and a new idea was being adopted, where the soul was more important than the physical body. People began to focus on the preparation of the soul for the afterlife, which caused the physical fitness of the body to lose its importance. This is a misguided view to life. I firmly believe that there needs to be 3 core pillars for a healthy and fulfilling life. A balanced life should start with a drive to keep your physical body at its best, which leads to an improved mental health that opens the gates to a healthy and fulfilling spiritual life. When all 3 are combined in harmony is when one's life can truly shine and prosper to its greatest ability. But this is for a whole nother episode, so let's move on. Let's jump to the Renaissance era, a period that showed great progress for humanity. The year is 1553, and the importance of physical fitness is slowly gaining its popularity back. This year in history marked the very first book exclusively covering physical exercise and the benefits it brings. It was written by a Spaniard named Cristobal Mendez. He titled it El Libro del Ejercicio Corporal y sus Provechos, which translates to the Book of Exercise of the Body and its Benefits. This book was the first of its kind. It went into various exercises that can be done, as well as injury prevention and recovery. This was an early catalyst to great resources that we have today, like the 5th Stage Keto Body Transformation Guide. Which leads us to our next era, the Industrial Revolution, which was another great shift in our history. This era began around 1760 and went up to 1840. It was a period that shifted our daily activity to an even more sedentary lifestyle. This was because the Industrial Revolution sparked the age of factory working, where machines began to do the brunt of the work, beginning a new way of life that had repetitive motion, but not the type that improves physical health. This sparked a desire for people to look into finding ways of using intentional physical exercise to stay healthy. This era gave us our very first resistance training machine, called the Gymnasticon, invented by Francis Laundes in 1796. It was a weird-looking machine that included foot pedals and cranks that were supposed to help support the strength of the joints in the body. This finally led us to our modern era, where things started to pick up, leading to the modern fitness industry we have today. I want to shine the spotlight on one great influencer of this era, a predecessor to the more well-known Charles Atlas and Jack LaLanne. The one who started it all in the United States, the godfather of the health and fitness culture we have today, the one and only Baron McFadden. He was born on August 16, 1868 in Mill Springs, Missouri. His early years were tough, and being born to an alcoholic father and a mother who was always ill didn't make things any easier. At the young age of 11, both of his parents were dead, and he was left to fend for himself in the harsh and unforgiving world. He spent some time in orphanages and bounced around relatives' homes, relatives that were not happy to have him. At this stage of his life, he was very skinny and seemed frail and weak. On one particular day, he overheard a relative talking about him, mentioning to another that he wouldn't last very long, that he too would soon probably die just like his parents. This sparked a fire in McFadden to improve his physical health, and he rose to the challenge. Soon after, he was sent to a farm who was in need of help in doing the daily chores. So, the young McFadden went, and he didn't complain about the work he was given, but was eager to prove himself. He put great effort into the task at the farm, tasks that were very demanding, involving intense plowing of the land. This initiated the transformation in him, and he began to grow strong. In the 2 years he spent in the farm, he gained a love and appreciation for nature and the outdoors. And as the years went on, he began to hit the gym, or how they called it in those days, the gymnasium. There, he developed into a skilled gymnast as well as a strong wrestler, winning several matches against much bigger opponents. He was a natural showman and loved to flex his muscles, which the crowds cheered on. Over the years, he grew his knowledge by spending hours in libraries educating himself, which began the formation of his ideas and theories for health and fitness. He was an advocate of the benefits of avoiding smoking tobacco and drinking alcohol, and many other forms of mainstream medical practices of his time. Over the years, he included natural methods to allow the body to heal itself, one of which was fasting. He was first intrigued when he noticed how animals would not consume food when they were sick, instead instinctively choosing to fast. I myself am always fascinated in how nature shows us clues to the real benefits of fasting. It must be a primal instinct our bodies have learned that allow them to heal. One of the daily strategies he implemented were long walks. He would do 3 to 6 miles a day and truly enjoy the time he spent outside. as the years went on, he stayed driven and put in the long hours to build his vision. In 1899, he was the founder of the very first magazine dedicated to health and fitness. He named it Physical Culture, which he grew into a publishing empire. His magazine, Physical Culture, stayed in publication for more than 50 years, setting the record for the longest-running fitness magazine. One of his other biggest successes was the magazine called True Story. In just 3 years, he was able to take this magazine from 300,000 in sales per year to a whopping 2 million per year, which was not easy to do back then. You can also thank McFadden for initiating the bodybuilding competitions that we see today. You see, back in 1903, he was the very first to set up a physique contest in the USA, where both men and women showed off their hard work for all to see. These events he put on introduced us to great competitors like the famous Charles Atlas. McFadden was also the founder of the Coney Island Polar Bear Club, which he started in 1903, where he encouraged others, even his own children, to take a dip into the frigid cold waters to feel the rejuvenation benefits of the cold. McFadden really was a man on a mission. His life is a great American success story. Throughout his life, he founded large schools that emphasized the importance of health and fitness. His hard work paid off, and he developed a large fortune that he used to own large hotels in Miami Beach and Los Angeles. Plus, he had dozens of restaurants that he owned. He was a great man, but like all of us, he too had his flaws. One of them was the promotion of an all-milk diet. That just sounds awful. His other misguided beliefs was the idea that fasting is the cure for all ailments. Now, don't get me wrong, I love intermittent fasting, but I'm fully aware of its limits. His later years were not too kind to him. His fame began to fade away, and many began to call him a quack. He also had issues in his personal life, going through 4 wives and having big financial problems with his businesses. Many say he lost most of his wealth by the time of his death in October of 1955, where he died at the age of 87. But some believe he had buried some of it, and interestingly enough, in 1960 they discovered a steel box buried in the land of one of his old properties, and once they opened it, they were in awe to see it stuffed with cash, to the amount of $89,000. Cha-ching! The story of McFadden's life is definitely interesting and inspiring, but it's hard to believe that a man who had such a big influence in our culture could be practically unknown to the majority of the new generation. There are a few others of his time that did more to advance our health and fitness than the Godfather himself, Baron McFadden. This brings us to the end of our ride through the history of physical fitness. I hope it gives you a better idea on how we got here. But now what? Where do we go from here? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's now learn about how we can use some of the lessons of history to upgrade our own modern lifestyle. You would think that the era we currently live in, with all the advantages in science as well as the lessons from our past, would mean we would be the fittest people of all time. Well, sadly, that's not the case. Yes, we may have increased our life expectancy from those in ancient times, but we can thank the advancements in science for that. Thanks to the discovery of penicillin and other medications, as well as the improvements in hospital sanitation, is why we live longer, not our fitness levels. But the way things are going, with both our diet and fitness, could mean we will see the coming generation of children not outlive their parents. So what can we do from here? What's next? Well, that's where 5th stage keto comes into the picture. I want to go over some of the strategic methods used in this guide to help point you in the right direction. 5th stage keto is a body transformation plan that implements 2 key methods of training, as well as a step-by-step guide on converting your body into a fat-burning machine with the use of nutrition. Let's go further into the training methods used. These are the strategies I used to drop 60 pounds of pure fat in 7 months. but more importantly, it helped upgrade my body from the inside out, improving my key health markers. The guide comes with 2 different training methods to choose from. Your current fitness levels and your personally set goals will determine which is best for you. The first of the 2 methods is called RPT, or reverse pyramid training. The second method is called TUT, or time under tension. Now, I have been doing resistance training since I was 15 years old, and over the years I've spent countless hours in the gym. This gave me an opportunity to learn what works, but more importantly, what is safe and sustainable. Once again, the training method that fits your level and your set goal will determine which one to choose. Let me explain. So the RPT, or reverse pyramid training, is the most intense out of the 2. This training method will involve heavier weights that will be much more demanding on the body. This will involve higher risk, but when done with good form, will show the greatest improvements in body composition. This is the method I currently use, and I have seen great change in myself and the others I have helped using RPT. RPT flips the standard pyramid training on its head. For example, a standard pyramid training will usually start with the lighter resistance and gradually get heavier with each following set. Well, reverse pyramid training is the opposite of this. You start with your heaviest set first. When it comes to safety and effectiveness, this is a smart approach, since you want to be fresh and unfatigued when you're lifting your heaviest weight. If you want to see the best version of yourself, then I suggest giving this a try and see how it transforms your physique. Now, if you want a plan that's easier on the joints and still helps you get many of the benefits of resistance training with less risk, then I suggest the TUT, or time under tension. This version of 5th stage keto has a method of training that is great for people who just want to improve their everyday muscular function and their health. The time under tension will implement an exercise with a slower tempo that increases the time the muscle fibers are under tension. This allows the body to feel the burn of a more intense exercise with much less chance of injury. Now, both methods will help you reach your goals. It's just up to you to choose which is best for you. To get started on your own body transformation, you can just click on the Burn It logo of this podcast to take you to the show notes. There, you can click on the link that says Reach 5th Stage Keto. Or just go to our website at burnitnutrition.com/5th stage keto. These methods are for both men and women. Remember, just like the Spartans, we all need to be strong and fit, but not for the benefit of others, but for our own health and happiness. One of our nation's greatest presidents once said, "Physical fitness is not only one of the most important keys to a healthy body, it is the basis of dynamic and creative intellectual activity." Words of wisdom by President John F. Kennedy. I've been able to witness this firsthand in my own life. Before I began 5th stage keto, I would struggle to be productive, waking in a thick haze on most mornings. This would occur since our brain's ability to function at its greatest potential is determined by the state of physical health the body is in. You see, when you care enough for yourself to feed your body real whole food and avoid processed carbs that can lead to whole systemic inflammation, will help you and your body reach its optimum potential. This is what can allow the high capacity of the human brain to invent and create new technologies to advance our civilization, sparking ingenuity that should start with a healthy body. Unfortunately, with every year that goes by, we seem to be forgetting the importance of putting priority into our physical health, especially at an early age. Each new generation seems to be getting sicker than the last. It seems like more and more kids are getting the free pass from their parents to eat as they'd like. Certain parents claim that it's okay that these kids have high metabolism, or that their kids will grow out of it, and they will be fine. But the reality is that the snacks and junk food they currently have available are so high in sugar and other chemicals that truly gets them hooked, leading to serious mental sugar dependencies and an increasing obesity problem, taking them down a road of reduced physical activity and a vicious cycle that doesn't end well. I've been down this road. I was the fat kid in school, and understand the struggle to get to a healthier path. but it is possible to break free of old habits with the right guidance and mental strength. So, how is the state of our health as a nation? Let's take a look. A study published in the 2016 British Journal of Sports Medicine ranked the physical health of 1.1 million children in 50 different countries from the ages of 9 to 17. The study used a well-known exam called the BEEP test, which is one of the top field-based exams that helps show the state of aerobic fitness. This involved 20-meter runs that would be done until the runner says they have had enough and can't go any further. Analyzing the physical health of our youth has shown to be helpful in determining the health as a nation, since a child who is aerobically fit usually means they will grow up to be a healthier adult and play a crucial role in the range of fields that will be a benefit for the whole society. Countries with healthier and fitter children will have a stronger and healthier adult population, allowing the nation to better progress at a faster and more sustainable rate. So, how did the US rank amongst the rest of the world? Did our nation's youth show their ability to endure? Were they at the top? Well, not even close. The US came in towards the bottom of the pack, coming in at 47th out of 50. Smaller countries like Tanzania, Iceland, and Estonia were at the top. And our Canadian friends to the north also did much better than us. They came in 19th out of 50. It truly was startling to learn we have gotten this far behind. Very surprising when you consider that the US comes in at the top of the Olympic Games, bringing home the most medals. Well, it appears that at the broader perspective, we have a lot of work to do. But hey, the good news is that we now have the tools and information to get on track, and it all starts with nutrition. Remember that in order to have a healthy mind, you need to have a healthy body, and in order to have a healthy body, you need to have a healthy diet. But that's where the big dilemma comes into play. You see, our views of a healthy diet are so different, and the biggest factor causing our setbacks is in the food we feed and surround our youth with. The reality is that the average kid in our country has a diet that's mainly consisting of refined sugars and processed fats, that when combined cause serious health issues. And excess sugar seems to be the biggest hurdle we have to overcome. And the sad reality is that we are starting to see younger generations develop serious health issues before they even reach high school. In the last episode, we learned about how our national dietary guidelines were influenced by poor studies that pointed the finger at dietary fat and cholesterol as the bad guy. This caused our nation to reject healthy fats and increase the recommendation for a high carbohydrate diet and the creation of the famous food pyramid, starting the decline of our youth's health since the majority of our school programs use these guidelines to put together the school lunch programs. My friends, I understand the challenge of raising children is a difficult one, especially when you don't have control over the food they are given at school. And I am by no means an expert in parenting, but if I could recommend one strategy, it is this. As a parent, you usually do have control over the food your family eats when at home, which is why the home should be a junk food free zone. Meaning while your child is home, they will only be having real whole food options. It is important that the parents show a good example and be the ones to lead this effort. Doing this should be a big step to help the child's health, especially if you start at an early age. This way, they grow to like the flavors of real food instead of having their taste buds overwhelmed with sugar. Now, this doesn't mean the child will never have sweets. They can, but only on special occasions, like whenever a birthday party comes around. In moments like these, they can go ahead and enjoy a slice of cake or ice cream, or both. But the majority of their days are filled with food that actually nourishes them at a cellular level. And hopefully this will also lead the child to making better choices on their own when they are at school. We really need to reconsider the foods we surround our kids with, as well as emphasizing the benefits of physical exercise at an early age. But it's important to remember that nutrition is the key to health and weight loss. Exercise is simply an essential tool to get you there faster. Do not forget the saying, you can't out-exercise a bad diet. This holds merit. The good news is that when you are down and hit rock bottom, there's only one way to go, and that's up. Even though we have gotten derailed from the path to health, we can still make the changes to regain our stride and reach the top. We have reached the segment of the show where we talk about some yummy options. So what's on the menu today? Today, we have a savory buttered steak with cauliflower mash. Let's be honest, mashed potatoes are amazing, but they will set you way back if you're trying to lose those extra inches around the belly. So, to still have your mashed potatoes that we all love and grew up with, and still stay on track to our fitness goals, we can make them using cauliflower instead. This will help avoid any rapid spikes in blood sugar that release the fat storage hormone insulin, allowing you to progress towards that summer body. Plus, you can always use this cauliflower mash recipe for some of those occasions that call for a savory side dish. So, on this recipe, we will enjoy the cauliflower mash with a juicy ribeye buttered steak. Now, I have also posted the full recipe on the Burn It Nutrition website, so you could use that as well. This is what you do to make this yummy dish. First, cut off the large cauliflower into smaller florets and put into a large pot of boiling water. Cover the cauliflower and cook until it's tender, usually around 10 to 15 minutes. While this is cooking, you can wash your steak and pat dry. Then, add some salt to both sides and set aside. Once the cauliflower is done, remove it from the pot and place it in a food processor, or chop it into very small pieces by hand. The food processor works best. Next, you will place some butter in a bowl and place it in the microwave to melt. Then add it to the processor and puree until the consistency is similar to mashed potatoes. Next, you will add some grated cheese and the other seasonings, sea salt, pepper, garlic powder, and oregano. The website has the full details on how much of each. Then, puree until they too are well mixed in. Next, chop some green onions and chives and set aside for now. After that, place a large skillet over medium-high heat and add some more butter to it. Then, gently lay the steak in. Let each side cook for 5 to 7 minutes. Now, this will largely depend on the size of the steak and how well you like it cooked. Once cooked, add ground pepper to taste and set aside in a covered bowl. Let it sit for around 2 to 4 minutes to allow the juices to redistribute. Then, serve the cauliflower mash and add the green onions and chives as the toppings. You can also add a dash of more cheese if desired. Next, serve the steak and enjoy. This will be a great dinner that many can enjoy without the added sugar spikes. Well, this marks the end of another Burn It Nutrition podcast. I will try to keep bringing more of these awesome episodes to your ears. I hope this episode gives you a better idea on why finding ways of implementing some type of physical exercise is crucial for long-term health. Let's make the effort to learn from the empires of the past who put high priority into the health and fitness of their people and see how it can be helpful for the improvement of our own citizens. We should also work to improve the fitness level of our youth and show them ways to implement a more active and healthier lifestyle. So, make today the day that sparks a change in your life. Get the 5th Stage Keto Guide and get up and get moving. Every new day is a chance to wake up and get to work on yourself. Choose healthy, real whole food and put some work in the gym and simply repeat till you build new habits. Remember that consistency is king. Stay driven and fight for the life that you want. Let exercise be your stress reliever, not food or alcohol. Exercise can be the key to your success. It can build up your physical, mental, and emotional strength. Discover the confidence you get from weight training. Maybe it will be the X factor that puts you above your competition. Care enough for yourself and put nutrition and physical exercise at the top of your priorities. It can be the medicine to your depression or the tool that takes you from single to Facebook official. So maybe it's time to try 5th Stage Keto and see what weight training can do for you. If you like this podcast and want to hear more, then please give us a review. I would really like to hear if this podcast is helping and encouraging you. Well, I hope you join us on the next show. It won't be the same without you. Now brace yourself, because it's time to let it burn.